Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. We are back here with our next presentation. We have a very nice webinar now with one of the best presenters at the CDA. Well, you already know her. She's Cindy Schmidt. And, but of course, let me tell you a little bit about her. Well, she has been working as an English teacher for over 13 years, so she's got quite experience, you see. Recently, she has finished her research in the field of neuroscience by presenting a project in neurodidactic strategies and games for school learners. She has participated in a lot of workshops as a presenter, and she's currently working at the CBA as a teacher counselor. I think most of us or everyone already knows her, and we know that she always has very nice things to share with us. Thank you for being part of these academic conferences, Cynthia.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much for introducing me. And I'm very happy to be here and share something that I learned. And I hope you like it.
I'm sure we will. Yeah. Okay, I can see that we already have
Okay,
in
so
place.
let me start. Uh, Wait, let me share my screen so we can start. Tell me, Danny, if you can see my screen now, please.
Not yet. I'm waiting for your screen. But don't worry, in the meantime, we're getting some more attendees here. There you go.
Great. Okay. 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 Hi, teachers. Thank you very much for being here and for listening to me. I would like to share something that I learned in a previous webinar. It is called the Genius Hour. Probably you have heard this term before, or probably you haven't. It's not something new. It's something that has already been going for quite a long time. And well, I'm not going to go too deep into the theory about Genius Hour because basically what I want to do with you is give you a tool so you can work with this tool and start right away with what Genius Hour is. Uh, this Genius Hour and 20% time, it's a project. And the main part of this project refers to passion. Yes, passion is, as it says here, is a strong feeling, a strong emotion that you can barely control. So let me tell you what my passion is. My passion is teaching. That's why I'm a teacher. And I miss my students. I miss my classroom. I miss being with them. But I believe that most of these webinars, they have given you some technological tools for you to share. But I believe that we can reach our students not only through technology, but through their passions. So this webinar basically or mostly is about finding or helping our students to find their passion. I don't know if you can read the comic strip I have here. And we all teachers face this problem in our classrooms. In this case, we have a father talking to his son, and he's asking, Gavin, your mom and I looked over your report card, and we think you could be doing better. And Calvin answers, but Dad, I don't like school. And Dad's surprised, and he says, why not? You like to read and you like to learn. I know you do. I mean, you've read every dinosaur book ever written, and you've learned a lot, right? Reading and learning are fun. And Calvin says, well, yeah. So why don't you like school? And then this is the sad part. He says, we don't read about dinosaurs. So I guess this is a big issue and a big problem on schools or probably universities or the place we teach. Students are used to learn what the school tells them they have to learn, but they don't really learn what they would like to, what they are passionate about, what they are interested in, what they are curious about. So that's the main problem. And I think with this Genius Hour and with these kind of projects, we are going to help our students find their passions. But let's move on. As I was saying, I'm not going to go too deep into the theory about what Genius Hour is. I just want to give you a tool. Wait, give me a minute so I can go to my next. Here, I would like to share with you a video. In this video, it's a very short video that is going to summarize what Genius Hour is. I hope I don't have problems because most of the times it takes a long time to load. And yes, it is. Let's give them a little bit of time to load. And if it doesn't, we go with plan B. Well, let's go with plan B. So I'm going to show you the video because I really would like you to have the concept of what Genius Hour is. So let's watch the video for a minute. It's very short.
Genius Hour begins with a simple premise. Give your students 20% of their class time to learn what they want. They choose the content while also mastering the skills and hitting the academic standards. With Genius Hour, students own the entire journey. They choose the topics based upon their own geeky interests. It doesn't have to be a traditionally academic area. They might like fashion or food or sports or Legos or Minecraft or deep sea creatures. Students ask the questions and engage in their own research to find the answers. Along the way, they design their own plan of instruction. They decide on the resources and activities, and each student sets goals and engages in self-assessment. They work at their own pace and set their own deadlines. Students decide on the grouping. Some work alone, others work in pairs or in small groups. In the end, students figure out what they will make and how they will share it with the world. A word of caution, it's not a total free-for-all. The best Genius Hour projects have systems and structures that empower students to reach their full potential. Even so, there will be mistakes, and you'll have to experiment. But in the end, students are empowered to be self-directed learners, engaging in creativity and critical thinking. In other words, they own the learning.
Okay. So as I said, basically that summarizes what Genius Hour is. Now I want to go back to the presentation. As I was saying, and wait, give me a minute. Okay, as I was saying, I'm not going to give you theory because that's not the purpose of, okay, that's not the purpose of the webinar. The purpose is giving you a tool so you can start. But probably you will ask yourself, why 20% time? Why giving the students this opportunity? So basically, a Genius Hour or 20% time refers to the idea of giving your students time, in this case 20% time, of your class so they can decide, choose. They have the freedom to decide what they want to learn. Yes? And once they have decided what they want to learn, what they are passionate about, they have to go and create a product, because it's not a project that ends up with the designing. They have to show it to the world. Yes, that's very important, and you will know why at the end. It's very important to show our project. So when we give the students the choice or the opportunity to decide what they are going to learn, you're giving them ownership. You develop this sense of autonomy. So this is very important because we have to, I mean, for us it's very easy probably to develop extrinsic motivation in students. But the most difficult one is to develop the intrinsic motivation. And when you give the students the opportunity to do it on their own, they develop this sense of autonomy, as I said, and they develop the intrinsic motivation. That's why we work with this Genius Hour. I am an English teacher. So as an English teacher, what do? I want all my students to climb my mountain all together at the same time and reach the peak. What's the peak? Is covering the units, the grammar, the vocabulary that the book has given me, and of course my authorities and my institution has given to me. But that's my mountain. What do we do with these Genius Hours? That we're going to have students climbing their own mountains, but I'm going to be there to help them and to achieve their own peaks. But at the same time, they're going to reach the peak and they're going to develop new skills, new abilities, new talents. and they are going to have a purpose for their learning, no longer a grade. Now the purpose for their learning is to create a product based on what they are passionate about. So how can we start? As I was saying, I would like to give you this, and Daniela later on, Danielita is going to help me passing this PowerPoint presentation that contains this journal. As the video said, is not giving them freedom to do whatever they want. Remember that students, they need a structure, they need some guidance. And this journal is going to help you giving the guidance and the structure the students need while working on the project. As I did with you explaining what Genius Hour is, what we do first is we talk about Genius Hour with our students using this journal. And this picture, if you see here, the picture we have here, kind of summarizes what Genius Hour is. We're going to tell them that we're going to use his or her passion. We're going to give this passion a purpose, and we're going to spend time, or we're going to assign time or give them time to learn and create based on their passion. Yes, we have to explain that we're going to give them 20% time. But at the end, I know probably the ones that work at school, we don't have 3 hours a day, every day with our students. And probably we have only an hour, and sometimes we have 45 minutes. Our periods are 45 minutes. So we don't have much time to give to our students. But the idea is that you give them as much time as you can. It can be 5 minutes every day, or you can have those 5 minutes at the end of each week, and you give them 25 minutes of your class so students can start working on this Genius Hour. As I said, it's not a strict rule that 20% time, but give them as much time as you can. Yeah, based on your needs and the amount of hours or periods you have a week. Now, they have to start and research about Genius Hour because they have to learn what Genius Hour is. So with these questions, we're going to help them get into this research. The first question is, how was the Post-it invented? And if you go to the internet and research about this, the company actually has given the employees 15% time during a week to work on what they were passionate about. So what happened is that one of the employees took this, on this period of the 50% time of the Genius Hour, they have invented the Post-it. So students didn't know that. So they are going to find out that this happened during Genius Hour. And next question says, what did Google do that was so different than most companies? So same, Google has this policy in which they give their employees 20% time to work on the Genius Hour. And this is actually 1 day per week in which the employees work on whatever they want to work. They research whatever they're interested in. Yes, and then they work on their passion. And again, passion, 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 but yes, they work on their passion. So I don't know if you know, but most of Google products were designed or discovered, created during this Genius Hour. So students are going to get to know the story of these products as well while they are researching. And then the last question will be, what motivates you more than anything else? Now, I know that we as teachers have to be a guide for our students. And on this project, we have to guide them finding, yes, we have to guide our students to find their passion. But this is very difficult. Imagine if for us it's difficult to find what our passion is. So it is more difficult for your students. So that's why these questions are very important to guide students on this process. Yes, it says, what are you passionate about? But they said, but teacher, I don't know what I'm passionate about. So ask something that is simpler, like, what do you do for fun? On your school breaks, what do you do when you get home? What are your hobbies? What do you do that makes you happy? So they are going to start thinking about, like, oh, I do this and that, and they are going to start creating the sense of, oh, probably this is my passion. Yes. Now, what are you curious about? What would you like to learn? What would you like to research? what are you curious about? That will be the question. And then what have you always wanted to make, create, or do? And this is how we start, yes, building this concept of passion. Yes, what am I passionate about? So we're going to have the idea moving around on their heads and they can start working. Uh, as I said, students have lots and lots of ideas. We have different kinds of students as well. You have students that really think big and they have these big ideas and they want to build rockets to travel to the moon, but we have to take them back to Earth, yes, and help them where we guide and then telling them that probably this is not possible, this is the way we can go, or try to go this way. Or probably we have some students that think really small. So we help them to open their minds and give them more options in which they can work on. An activity that you can use for that will be this Passion Madness Bracket Challenge. If you, I don't know, if you are a sports fan, probably this is the way in which soccer tournaments are designed. Yes, we have different kinds of teams, and then they fight against, or they play against of each other, and the first and the best one wins. And then at the end, for the final round, we have the best team. And in this case, when the students work with this Passion Madness Bracket Challenge, they throw ideas. And the idea is that at the end, they can choose. With this process, we are going to help the students breaking down the, the ideas, or we're going to help them narrowing down the process so they can get to the best idea they can possibly have. Once they have done that, oh, there's another idea also that is called the Bad Idea Factory, in which students throw all the different ideas they have. And probably some of them are really bad, right? So we're going to choose the worst idea there, and then we're going to throw it away. And some of them are very crazy and funny, so you're going to have fun if you do this the other way, right? Like I told you, the Bad Idea Factory. Once they have already found the best option, the best idea, the one they are going to work on, we go to this chart that probably you are all familiar with, is the KWL. That's what you know. As an example, I am a student and I'm interested in video games. So what do I know about video games? I know how to play video games. I know that video games have levels. I know that video games have characters, and they have a story, right? So what do I want to know? I'm sorry, there's a mistake there. And I apologize for that. And what do I want to know about these video games? I would like to learn how to create my own video games. So that's what I want to know. That's what I'm going to research. And at the end, we have to give them a space to reflect. Because in this kind of projects, students need to reflect on what they have done and what they are going to do in the future. So that's why we have this section that says what you learned. At the end of the project, they are going to actually reflect and write what they have learned during the process, or about this passion, in this case, video games. Yes? Now, they already have the idea set. But as I said, being a genius is not being a genius alone. We have a community, so we have to share these ideas with our community. That means with our peers. Now, this is called the Shark Tank page, share with the class. Students have to share only four slides to the class. They can use PowerPoint, they can use a video, they can use, I don't know, Prezi or any other tool to present this. If we were in a real classroom, they can use a notebook and present it, or a piece of paper, it's fine. But they have to actually create 4 slides. And the presentation has to be no longer than 2 minutes, because if we have 30 students, imagine that, right? So it needs to be like very short, 2 minutes tops. So I don't know if you have ever watched this show that is called the Shark Tank. It's about a group of sharks. They are called sharks because they are very important business people that have a lot of money. So I go to the Shark Tank and I present my idea. If I present it well and the sharks are interested, they are going to they are going to give me money so I can start my project. So basically, this is what's going to happen on the class. Students have to present their ideas to the class so they can get feedback from the peers and they actually listen what they have to say. In these slides, they have to answer questions like, what are you learning? They have to tell the audience or the peers what are they learning. And next slide, why are you learning it? Yes. And how are you going to do about the learning and the creating of what you wanted to learn? And the last one, which is also very important because here it comes again, the reflecting part, they are going to predict about the future. How would success, look like in the future? And when they, go into retrospective and look what they have made with what they thought it was going to be, well, we always need to have the versus and they can reflect and say, okay, I was dreaming, but this is my actual product and it worked. Yes? Now, we cannot throw our students without an action plan. Yes? Now, they already have an idea and what they want to do and what's the outcome, but they need a plan. So here is where they are going to write this plan, the action plan. So let's go back to the video games. Yes, for example, in my step number 1, what's the action? I would like to find, yes, I'm writing here, I would like to find platforms that are going to help me create a video game. So I need to research about platforms. Time, I'm going to have until next Wednesday to do it. Yes, resources, I have internet access and I have a cousin or an aunt that works with this kind of stuff, or they are engineers that are going to help me. What are some potential barriers I may found? Probably if I look for platforms on the internet, I am going to find a lot of information, probably too much information, and it's going to be difficult for me to discriminate this information. And probably that's not going to be enough, so I will have to look for someone to help me. That can be one barrier. So if I accomplish my goal and if I completed this plan, or students in this case complete the plan, they mark with an X or a check that they have finished. For example, step number 2 would be, I have already found 2 platforms. Now I have to decide which one is going to suit my needs, and blah, blah. They continue until next Friday, resources, and so on. Here, it's also a great opportunity for us teachers to guide. As I was saying, some students think too big. For example, and I'll give you my own example. In my classroom, I had a student. She was very passionate about cooking. So she was not going to learn to cook because she has already knew how to do that. But she wanted to share these recipes and this passion and love she had for cooking with the world. She was a mother and she usually cooked for her daughter and her family. How do I know this? Because during the process, I got to learn about my students, their life, their environment. That's what this project does. Now, going back to the story, and she didn't know how to present it to the world. And she said, teacher, if I make a video, and I was like, yes, you can make a video. So when I saw the action plan, she wrote, she was researching about Sony Vegas and some other editors, video editors that are very difficult to use. And at this point, I told her, like, well, probably it's going to take you a long time to learn how to use these tools. Why don't you use TikTok? And she said, but teacher, I'm very old to use that. I was like, no, yeah. I make TikToks on my own. I'm not that old. I am, but just live it like that. And I actually gave her this tool. Is not because of the TikTok, of the purpose of the application. It's because the editor for the video on this application is very easy to use. So I gave her the tool, and then she was so excited because she learned a new talent. She learned how to edit videos in a very easy way, and she was able to teach her daughter, because at the end, her daughter was making TikToks as well. So I took this opportunity to help my student and guide her to complete the task and do not make it too complicated. Now, once they have the action plan, yes. So imagine we said, oh, let's go back to the video games. I said, until next Wednesday, this is what I'm going to do. So we need documentation. We need to document the information because it is a project. So we need to write and reflect. So here it says, what did you learn? They have to, even during this week that he was researching about platforms, did he learn anything? Was he able to make or create anything? What were his or her epic failures? This part of the epic failures is also important. Why? Because we're telling the students that it is okay to fail, to have problems, but we should take them like in a very, we need to teach our students to overcome these failures, but telling them it is okay to fail. And at the end, you're going to laugh about it, yes, because you have achieved some other goals. Now, one question is, did you accomplish last week's goal? Why or why not? And what's your goal for next time? Now, this is what we call the progress meter. It measures, let's say, how many hours have they spent in each of the steps. From the idea, they started on the idea to the pitch, to the learning, the creating, the presenting, and the reflecting. And this is important. I like students to write how much time they have spent, because when they go back again to see all the process, they are going to realize that they really work hard on the project, and that's the reward that they are going to have at the end. Now, they are already almost done with the idea and the project and the thing they are going to do. As I told you at the beginning, it is very important to present or to create a product at the end. And this product has to be shown to the world. Yes, it can be through Twitter, through Instagram, Facebook, just a video conference, any way in which students would like to present, but it has to go to the world. And this is a structure or the kind of organization a TED Talk has. So you give them this structure so they can organize their ideas and present their product nicely, like as a TED Talk, as I said. It says they start with what they wanted to learn, what the solution was at that moment. If they talk about the learning struggles, the learning wins, and they actually show what they made and what was the reward for learning and making at the end. And they reflect, as I told you, we need to reflect on the future. So what's going to happen next? Yes. So this is more or less how they are going to present the product. And this is the end of the journal. Here, as I told you, they need to reflect about all the process. And they answer these questions. What did I struggle with, and how did I learn, or what did I learn from it? What was the most exciting part of Genius Hour, and why? And the most important is that we're going to push them through the next Genius Hour or the next project. What do I want to learn, do, make, or create next? Well, it sounds, I think it's a dreamy project. You will say like, yeah, it sounds good, but probably in theory it doesn't work. So probably you are asking yourselves what to do when Genius Hour fails. And well, let me tell you that Genius Hour never fails. But we all know that we have students, for example, in our classrooms that are going to push us back when we want to do something. They really don't want to do it. Yes, they are always telling you, teacher, I know, again a project, really. So what happens? And again, don't blame the students. The attitude the students have is because there are three, let's say, main problems that we are facing. Genius Hour is giving freedom. It's about giving freedom to students, freedom to decide, freedom to choose what they want to learn. And again, I didn't tell you this before, but there's not going to be a reward or a punishment if they don't do it. They are not going to get a score or a sticker or points. Yes, that's not the purpose. The purpose of is learning and do it with passion, or learn about your passions and things like that. So this is more like, it's not like traditional education. So if they have the freedom, but they are not going to be rewarded or punished if they don't do the project, well, we are giving them all the reasons not to work on the project, right? Because when we give freedom, with freedom it comes responsibility, and some students are not used to this kind of responsibility. So then we end up with this kind of students in class that they really don't want to work. And as I was saying, it's because there are three problems that we are facing, and it's not the student's attitude is the problem. One of the most important problems is that the students who are not allowed on school, on all the school life, they are not allowed to learn what they really want to learn. They just learn what they are told to, yes, or what the book says, or what the teacher gave, what the teacher gave. So that, and they do it for a grade, yes. So they don't have a purpose for the learning. The only purpose is the grade. So they go through the school life without knowing what they are passionate about, what they are interested in, or what they are curious about. So what happens? Second problem, they end up graduating with without knowing what what their passion is. And then the third problem is that we come across with these adults that they start working in something they really hate and just work there to get by. So as I said, these are the problems, and that's why we have this attitude with the students. So don't blame the student. There are three steps that we can follow in order to avoid having or helping, let's say, this kind of students and this kind of attitude. The first step is, why don't you have a conversation or a few conversations with this student, but about life in general, not about the project. Just uh, take this opportunity to talk about life. And again, I remember myself at school, and the greatest teachers I had and that I really remember are the ones that when I was at school, they talked to me and cared about me as a person and also as a student, but more as a person. So I responded positively to these kinds of teachers. I remember that because they talked to me and they approached me from a different perspective. So as I said, talk to them about life in general. Yes, this the structure of the project gives you the opportunity to interact one-on-one with the students, to get to know them a little better, and to bond with your students, and these to form a strong connections with them. And these strong connections are going to help them during this learning process, and it's going to make this process easier. Second step that we can actually follow is, once we have identified these students that really don't want to work with this project, and when you give them the time to work on what they really want, they usually work on math or chemistry, or they have another university project to work on. So let's start small. Ask them for help. Probably during your 20% genius hour in your class, yourself can also work on your own genius hour, on your own project, and you can be the role modeling for your students on this learning process. So you can ask these students to help you. You can talk to them about your epic failures and ask them to help you on your project. Probably you don't have time to have a project on your own class. It's fine. What you can do is take advantage that we have many different students working on their projects as well. So give them the task to help you record or interview or document what the other students are doing. and give them 2 through 3 questions so they can ask the other students on the interviews. And remember that motion creates motion. So students are going to start researching and getting feedback from their peers and probably start thinking like, I should be doing this. Why I'm not? Yes. And the last one is that we have to change their purpose of learning. As I said before, the purpose for any school student or university student as well, for this matter, is that they all work or they all learn because the purpose is to get a grade or a score. So they have all done this during this school life. They worry about their grades, they complain about their grades, and they just work because of the grades. So we have to change this purpose. And again, I remember one student I had at school that he used to draw these beautiful comics. I remember he drew one of me. And I was so shocked because it was great. And he was only 12 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like, teacher, I cannot wait to finish school and just start making money, real money with this. What, because this is the thing that I know how to do. Because in classes, he was not the best student ever, but his comics were perfect. So I didn't have the genius hour at that time, but I could have helped him, given him a different purpose. Like I would have been able to help him developing his idea and his project if I had at that moment this tool, but I didn't have it. Now, you can do the same with your students. Change the purpose. Since you're not going to receive a point or a grade or a sticker or points, but this is going to be your new purpose. As I said, probably my student was going to receive some feedback about their videos, and someone was going to watch her, and probably she's going to become famous in the future because she's opening herself up to the world, as I said, showing this product. As teachers, we are not in charge of creating. Yes,
I'm
Dani,
really
Dani.
sorry, I think there was a little audio
No
problem.
worries, it's fine.
Now that you were giving us the nice story about the students and everything, there is a question, and that's why I'm interrupting you now. Said,
No worries,
question says
it's fine.
from Jose, why is it important to give students the opportunity to pursue their passion? Now that we were talking about that.
Why is it important? As I said, students at school learn what they are told to. Yes, they do not learn what they want to, what they are passionate about. And again, as I said, once you give them the opportunity to choose and to decide that they can learn something they are passionate about, we're going to truly engage the students on this project. Yes. And they are going to be self-motivated, and we are going to develop intrinsic motivation for this learning process. Yes. That's why we give the students the opportunity to work on what they are passionate about. So I was almost done with the presentation. Yes. And those were that was the last slide on my presentation. But I wanted to share, let's say, a plus for you. Yes, since I'm going to give you this journal as a gift, because Danny is going to pass the presentation at the end, and you can use this journal to start your genius hour. I'm going to teach you or show you how you can turn this PowerPoint presentation, this journal, into an interactive notebook. Because at the end, since we are having virtual classes, they cannot write, yes? We are going to turn this PowerPoint into a virtual or, interactive notebook that you can post on your Google Classrooms. And it's very easy. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
So what do we do to turn this journal into an interactive notebook? What I do first, make sure that you have already saved this PowerPoint presentation as PowerPoint on anywhere on your computer. Once you have done that, we open the file again and we go to Archivo, it's in Spanish, I'm sorry, and we choose Guardar como or Save As, yes? And we're going to choose, well, any file, any folder you would like to save this journal so you can find it faster. So I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to choose the format which I'm going to save it. I'm no longer going to save it on PowerPoint. It's going to be on formato de intercambio de archivo JPG. We have to transform this PowerPoint into an image, yes? And once we transform the PowerPoint into an image, it says, ¿qué diapositivas? We want to export all the slides, so we choose all. We wait, it's not a long process. And we continue waiting until it says it's done. It's almost done. Just 2 minutes. Almost done. I'm sorry. It didn't take that long yesterday, I promise. Okay. Now we have already saved the PowerPoint, but in image format. Yes, they are pictures. So what do? I go to my Drive, to my Google Drive. Here. I go to my Drive. Here. I open my Drive and I open this. No, sorry. No. Okay, yes. We can go through here too. No. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, no. We go to our Drive, but we choose the slides. Okay. Wait. It's taking a little long. I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay, so we go to our Drive and we choose the tool that says Slides. We open the slides and we are going to use a blank presentation. It's opening, so I want a blank presentation, so I create my own blank presentation. Which is one. It's reading. Okay, we have a white presentation, like a blank slide. I'm going to change the name so we don't get confused, and my computer is taking its time. I'm sorry. Okay, it's loading. Okay. We can change the title of our presentation. So this could be our Genius Hour Journal. And this is for the students, yes? Okay. Genius Hour Journal. Okay. We have a blank presentation. So I don't want these text boxes here. So I'm going to erase them and delete them. Okay, we delete this. And we delete this other box. Please. Okay. Now that I have deleted.
Answer my question that has been posted recently.
Of course. Yes, no problem.
Great. We have one question from Sulma. She asked, how is this related to learning English?
Of course, thank you very much for the question, Sulma. This process, you do it in your classroom. So you are going to use the language to help them learn what they are passionate about. We don't do it in Spanish. We do it in our English class. So of course, they have to use the language. They are going to research. That's where you guide them, Sulma, in order to help them research in English, find information in English, and they are doing it in your English time. So they have to use the language. And besides that, they are going to develop new talents, new skills, and new abilities through the language. I hope I could have answered Zulma's question. Now, as I said, we already have our blank slide. So I go here to where it says slide. And I change the background. Yes. I choose an image as we did before. We have already transformed the PowerPoint into pictures. So I'm going to choose, let's say we have to choose all the pictures in order so you can create your journal, but I'm going to choose one so I can give you the example, and then you can work on your own with the rest of the, okay, here. Once we have chosen the image, we click on done, and that's your slide. But if you see and here, if you click, students are not going to be able to mess with the format. They cannot edit this part because it's already an image. What you do, okay, we insert text box in which we want the students to answer. So I'm going to write this here that says type here, so that they know where to introduce text. We do the same here. And this is how your journal becomes interaction. So yes, of course, Dani, tell me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, we have another question from teacher Pedro. He said,
Okay.
helping students decide what they love doing or learning means to have a close look at the syllabus and curriculum. Am I right? That's what you said.
I don't know if I'm understanding. It says helping students decide what they love doing or learning means to have a close look at the syllabus and curriculum. As I was saying, we as teachers have a curriculum to follow. What they want to learn or what they're passionate about probably is not related with the curriculum we have. Yes? But we are giving them the opportunity. That's why we give them 20% time of our classes to research about this passion. Probably one of the topics on our book is something they are passionate about, but probably it isn't. As I said, this is not related with going through the books and follow the rules and giving them a guideline. It's giving them freedom to decide and choose what they want to learn about.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So basically, this is how it looks. You just have to upload all the pictures of the journal. You already have, let's say, edit the parts you would like to edit so students can type and write in there. And what do you do now? You go to your class because you want your students to have this journal and they can edit and enter the notes on the journal. You can go to the class as you regularly do. And you go to assignment, you choose your assignment, classwork, and you go to create an assignment. Create an assignment, and you choose the clip where it goes or redirects you to the drive. And on the drive, you're going to have, because we've been working on this, so it's going to be the first document that appears there. And I'm sorry, it's taking a little bit to upload. Here we go to add. And we go to the Google Drive. And then you're going to find your Genius Hour there. Let's go to Google Drive. There. And the Genius Hour, that is the interactive notebook that you have here. It's going to be able to be posted to your assignment. Yes, we choose the Genius Hour. We add, it's already there. Just make sure that you make a copy for each of your students, and that's it. Then you have your interactive notebook. So I hope you like it, and I hope, and thank you very much for listening to me. This is my information. If you have questions or you would like to ask me something regarding Genius Hour, I'll be more than happy to help you, I don't know, clearing up your doubts. And thank you very much, Dani, for giving me the time and the opportunity to present something that I could share with my friends.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing something really nice. And I think it is something that
You're very welcome.
into account. Definitely. I guess we will all apply this Genius Hour. It sounds really nice, really interesting, and really helpful. Not only for us, but also for the students. It would be awesome that all the courses have your type of the Genius Hour. Thank you. I
Yes,
have
and
heard a lot of teachers saying that.
Yes, no, just thank you everyone because you've given me the opportunity to share something with you. It probably is something small, but if you can apply this to your classrooms, you will feel and you will see that your students are going to be really, really thankful with you.
Good. Thank you. Well, one more time, thank you very much, Cynthia. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this, sharing again your knowledge, something that you have learned. It's really nice when people learn something and then they share it, right? That is the best thing people can do. And you're an excellent teacher. Thank you very much.
You're
And
very
well,
welcome.
now, on behalf of the CBA, I would
Okay.
also like, yes, you know that you're going to get
Of course.
certificate, of course. I hope you can see my screen now. Well, as you already know, here's your certificate of appreciation. And again,
Thank you
here
so much,
to
Dan.
the webinar. Thank you so much for the Genius Hour. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And one more time,
You're
thank you
very
for
welcome.
being part of the academic conferences, this time for the first time, virtual conferences. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I hope to see you soon and we can give each other a hug. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank
Bye,
you. And
teachers.
thank you, everybody. Bye, see. Thank you. Okay, thank you. One more time, don't forget to fill out the attendance form. It has already been posted, but I am going to post it again. Here it is. I'm going to leave it here for a couple of minutes while we are getting ready for the next presentation. Bye.